And now, Mike's thoughts.
Bryce Young has officially been benched in Carolina. Bryce Young hasn't played a total of 19 NFL games. Bryce Young played a total of 1 series this NFL preseason. Why does that matter? Because you got a brand new passing coordinator, brand new offensive coordinator, brand new head coach, and played 1 series this NFL preseason. Not 1 drive, not 1 quarter, not 1 game, 1 series. That lasted three total plays. 3 total plays. Now, when we hear Bryce Young got benched, the first thing that's going to come to our mind is that he is a bust. That Bryce Young is a bust. We're going to hear that the Chicago Bears made out like fat bandits when the Carolina Panthers gave up an arm and a leg for the number 1 overall pick, which ultimately ended up being Bryce Young. But guys, I'm not here to put the bust label on Bryce Young. I'm not here to say Bryce Young is a bust. I'm not here to say that Bryce Young shoulda, coulda, woulda done this. What I'm here to say is that the Carolina Panthers are the worst NFL organization ever. They are the worst NFL organization ever. Not only do you give up a crap ton of picks for Bryce Young, not only do you fire Frank Wright that drafted Bryce Young after 11 games, give him an interim head coach, hire a new head coach that played in 1 preseason series, 3 plays that they scored, and you bench him after 2 games. It is not Bryce Young's fault that the Carolina Panthers are being outscored 61 points so far this season. It is not Bryce Young's fault that their offense looks abysmal at best. It is not Bryce Young's fault that he is going to be deemed a bust. It is Carolina Panthers all the way. Carolina Panthers, the worst ran organization in the NFL. Carolina Panthers, you guys need to figure yourselves out ASAP, or you are going to have ill will for a very, very long time. Cue that intro. Are you ready for the best damn NFL show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
Yeah, hey, let's go. Hitting that gridiron, we going hard, we running the plays. You know the vibe, only the strong survive. Gotta keep your head in the game. Talking NFL, uncut, straight raw, steady bringing that sauce. We about to take off, get it hype. This man, our sport talk. Yeah, from the quarterback to the lineman, everybody bringing heat. You don't really wanna try them. Hey, who gon' win? It's a battle of the giants. This show is the flyest. Nobody can deny it. This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? This is Man Hour. Sport Talk. Man Hour. Sport Talk. What team you reppin'? We keep it interesting. Who caught another down? Who got that interception? Let's go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckcaster here, running a little behind today. It's not because of a computer issue. It's not because of issues. It's just the simple fact that I was late today. It is what it is. Me and my wife had a healthy discussion. We unloaded some groceries in the car, and quite frankly, I just lost track of time, and I apologize. I apologize for that. But guys, we're here live, raw, uncut, every Monday through Friday, 2:30 East Coast time. And today is Overreaction Tuesday. Finally doing an Overreaction Tuesday on a Tuesday. But if you guys are new here, consider liking the page, consider subscribing to the page, and of course, share this with a couple friends as well. So we got a poll question happening over here at facebook.com/Man Hour. And I simply asked the question, will Bryce Young be labeled a bust? And John, Mr. Pigskin Punter himself, says nope. Nope. Bryce Young will not be labeled a bust. Why is that, John? Why is that? He has won a total of 3 NFL games. He has had a total of 5 touchdown passes in 19 games. He has a total of 12 interceptions? Something crazy like that. He has some pretty bad stats. But Is it going to be because of all the blame is going to be pointed toward the organization? Is it going to be that all the blame is finally pointed on, hey, Carolina Panthers, you set this guy up for failure. You fired his coach that drafted him 11 games into the season. You played him one NFL series during the preseason, third game versus the Buffalo Bills. You played him 2 NFL games, and I don't know. It's a question, guys. Do you guys think he will be labeled an NFL bust? I think he will ultimately be labeled an NFL bust. Do I think he is going to be a bust? I don't know. Maybe he can, find some Baker Mayfield in him and go find a new team that wants him. Maybe he can find some Sam Darnold here, kind of be a journeyman and find a team that wants him. Maybe he can pull off a Nick Foles, go be a backup somewhere, sit the bench all season long. Your starting quarterback happens to go down 3 weeks left in the season. Bada bing, bada boom. Insert you become a Super Bowl MVP. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? And John says they are saving him after Vegas game. No offensive line. And this is what I got to say about this, though, John. Once you bench a player for the season, especially somebody like Bryce Young that has had zero success in the NFL. Yes, he beat C.J. Stroud, week 12 of last season. Yes, he did have an opportunity to win a couple games this season. He's not going to now. But this kid's confidence is shattered. He has no confidence in himself. He has no confidence in the organization. He has no confidence in the coaching staff. Honestly, if I was Bryce Young right now, I would be asking for a trade. I would be, trade me somewhere. Get me somewhere out of here. If you guys want Andy Dalton, go for it. Simple fact of the matter is, once you bench a rookie quarterback, a second-year quarterback, just for a game or whatever, no, you have to stick with Andy Dalton for the rest of the season. You have to stick with Andy Dalton for the rest of the season, 100%. So just not after the Vegas game, it's for the rest of the season. Bryce Young is benched for the rest of the season. It just has to be that way. Jim Powell is in the chat as well, and he says, I hope Carolina isn't going to react like most replacements and play lights out. That is true. That is true, Jim. I actually posted a question up here on our Facebook page earlier today, facebook.com/man-hour NFL talk, and the media asked Antonio Pierce, Coach Pierce, the head coach for the Las Vegas Raiders, is this Carolina game going to be a trap game? You know, you do have a backup quarterback. You are expected to win. You did beat the Ravens the previous week. Is there going to be a letdown? Is there going to be this? I mean, unfortunately, there might be. The Red Rocket, Mr. Andy Dalton, has won a lot of football games. Andy Dalton kind of got the short end of the stick in Dallas. For whatever reason, nobody liked Andy Dalton in Dallas at all. It showed it very much so when he got his ass knocked out. He was seeing stars worse than Tua was. And not one person on the Dallas Cowboys was there to defend him or help him up or fight off the other team. Hell, the other team's trainer came over and checked him out before the Dallas Cowboys even realized what happened. But historically, we don't have film on a quarterback. There's film on Andy Dalton, but he hasn't played in 4 years. He's been a backup for was it the Bears, and he was he at the Saints? This is his second year as a backup in Carolina. There's not film on Andy Dalton. You don't know what to expect. So I guess I can see that a little bit. James Frank is in the chat, top fan himself. What's up, James Frank? He says he don't have the heart that Baker has. And to be honest, James, you as a Browns fan, when Baker was in Cleveland, many people put that no heart label on Baker, right? When you guys went to the playoffs and you did beat the Pittsburgh Steelers for the first time, 25 years or 30 years, whatever it was, he was playing with the torn labrum in his shoulder. Nobody knew about it. I think he tore it against the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Nobody knew about it, and he's playing some bad football. His arm strength looked weak at best. He was making some heir apparent throws, and people were like, oh, Baker's washed up. Baker sucks, whatever, yada, yada, yada. He has no heart. He has no glory. I mean, I personally think Bryce Young just needs a new location. Bryce Young needs to go find a team and like an organization that is willing to invest into him. Bryce Young could be a career backup. There's been many, many good quarterbacks that have been career backups. Chase Daniels, Gardner Minshew, Nick Foles, right? Just signed with the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday night and retired as an Eagle. Super Bowl MVP winning Philadelphia Eagle. Bryce Young needs to go somewhere where he is going to be wanted and kind of grow, like groomed, right? Seattle Seahawks makes sense. Geno Smith, you don't know what you're going to get with him from week to week to week. He's 34, 35 years old. You could go to the New York Jets, learn from Aaron Rodgers. Zach Wilson improved night and day sitting behind Aaron Rodgers for just the summer in like 3 plays, right? Bryce Young has a place somewhere if an organization is willing to invest $1 million into him, invest a 6th or 5th round pick, and just invest some time in the kid. That's all he needs is some time investment. And the Carolina Panthers, they've seen the success of C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans. They're like, right. James says, I will take Bryce Young as my backup in Cleveland over DTR. Or no. You said you want Dorian Thompson over Bryce Young. DTR is a pretty good athlete. I personally think DTR might be the future in Cleveland. There's a lot of stuff happening in Cleveland, right? I haven't read the whole article, but there's supposed to be some stuff that's going, some accusers meeting with the NFL in next week or 2 weeks. And it could potentially kick Deshaun Watson basically out of the NFL. I don't know. It is. And John says, he agrees with me. He says, Bryce Young needs out of Carolina. Bryce Young does need out of Carolina. After being benched, after not being invested into, not being coached, I mean, at some point in the back of your mind, Bryce Young's up like, hey, man, 3 strikes and you motherfuckers are out. I mean, you fired my head coach my first season, 11 games into the season. Frank Wright. Dave Chanels, or have you say his name, played me 1 preseason series. You got me Adam Thielen thinking he's going to be some lifesaver. Like, come on, man. This has got to be 3 strikes and you're out for the Carolina Panthers. So, guys, I'm proposing the question. Do you guys think Bryce Young is going to be labeled a bust? Bust. Yes or no? Yes or no? And John says, Vegas, baby. Slow it down. And then WBN is in the chat. He says, Bryce Young to Miami would be interesting. Now, I don't know what the Miami Dolphins have as far as draft capital or salary cap. But let's say, because right now, right, the Miami Dolphins went to the Baltimore Ravens and signed Tyler Huntley to their active roster to replace Tua. It depends on who you talk to. Totally depends who you talk to. Whether you read Facebook or Twitter, who do you trust? Is it just people trolling or is it actual information? But Tua's meeting with independent doctors to determine if he should retire from the NFL or not. Right? The last concussion, many people were saying he should just retire from the NFL. This concussion, people are saying he should retire from the NFL. He should hang it up. I personally do not think he will hang it up, which I question because I've seen some pretty gnarly concussions, right? I've myself had some pretty gnarly concussions, right? Been knocked out cold. You pee your pants, you poop your pants. You don't know where you are for like a play or two. You jump back up like, oh shit, here I am, right? I don't understand the whole every time Tua gets hit hard. When you guys see concussions across the league, do you ever see that? When Andrew Luck got all of those concussions, you never saw him go. When old who got a concussion, just like you never see that. So I wonder if it's more than a concussion. Like that's why he's contacting a independent doctor or anything just like that. But Bryce Young to the Miami Dolphins would be very, very interesting because obviously he could compete for a starting position. As I do like my man Skylar Thompson from Kansas State University, I don't think he's a long-term solution in Miami. I don't think Tyler Huntley is a long-term solution in Miami either. Tyler Huntley is a good little he's a Lamar Jackson. I'm not saying he is Lamar Jackson, but I'm saying he looks like Lamar Jackson, right? As far as the scrambling ability and pass second type of thing, and that's not what Miami wants to do. Bryce Young to Miami makes sense. Damn it, and every time I think about it more, I'm like, it makes sense. It makes it like it does. Because you put him in a really, really good situation. Is Bryce Young athletically, ability, football IQ better than Skylar Thompson? Yes. And I'm a Skylar Thompson fan. I loved when the Miami Dolphins drafted him. I love me some Skylar Thompson. But Bryce Young is better than Skylar Thompson. You team him up with Waddle and a nice running game and a decent offensive line and Tyreek Hill and a defense that's sneakily pretty good. Granted, they don't beat winning teams, whether they're 1-11 versus winning teams since Mike McDaniels has taken over. So there's no really high expectations. I don't know. Does it make sense? Guys, question. Does Bryce Young to the Miami Dolphins make sense? I like it. And you might be onto something here. Z Dorporto 15 says, hey, what's up? Is that a Mahomes jersey? It says 15. I don't know if it's Mahomes jersey or not, but what up? James Frank says, put Bryce Young behind Aaron Rodgers and let him learn. I like that. I love Bryce Young to an established team like the New York Jets. Like I said, Zach Wilson looked night and day improvement when he was just sitting back as second team and just relaxing. He was growing. He was learning. Right? John People says, rumor I heard was Ryan Luck was talking to Miami. I think he meant Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck will never be back in the NFL ever again. If you read that big, what's the big long blog post is Armoire or something like that. He said he's never playing in the NFL ever again. He's happy where he's at. He loves supporting his wife. He loves waking up and playing with the kids. Ryan Luck is never coming back to the NFL. And James Frank says Huntley would be nice in that system in Miami. And I don't think so. I think Huntley is kind of a one-trick pony. He likes to scramble and use his legs and then pass second, and that's not what Miami is about. Miami is the pass-first offense. Pass-first offense. James says he has seen Denzel Ward do the thing when he got a concussion. The rigor. My man, Carson Lang, what are you talking about, dog? Rigor. What? Vantage Production says the Panthers low-key destroyed Bryce Young. Not low-key. They did it blatantly wide in the open, Vantage Productions. In the wide open, they said, we are going to fire your coach. We are going to play you one series, and then we're going to bench you. Like, they didn't low-key did it. They did it blatantly out in the open. Deshaun Watson might like Miami. I think they have a lot of massage parlors down there. Robert Kraft knows that very well, Carson. And says, not to mention, him and Waddle played together in college. I did not know that. I did not know Bryce Young and Jalen Waddle played together in college. I mean, I guess. Are you sure? Maybe. I don't know. I have to go back and look. Arthur Brown says, in my eyes, it's on Arch Manning. Texas quarterback Arch Manning. Arch Manning had a really good backup performance last week where he threw for like 5 touchdowns or some of that in a blowout win for Texas. But Arch Manning isn't even a starting quarterback right now. Texas got this other. I think he's a junior because we were talking about it at work. I want to say his name's Ladd or Lloyd. Let me look it up to confirm. But Arch Manning might be a future quarterback if he ever gets on the field. But right now, this is his redshirt sophomore year. So the kid's name's Quinn Ewers, right? I'm sorry, I was thinking Cole Lord for some reason. But Quinn Ewers is a starting quarterback for the Texans. Arch Manning is just a freshman. So Arch Manning's got some time to grow as a quarterback. I don't know. Vanish Productions says, definitely see Bryce Young going to Miami. It kind of makes sense. But if it's going to make sense, it has to happen in the next 3 weeks, because that's when the trade deadline officially ends. And James Frey says, I cannot wait to have Manning in the league again. James says, I cannot wait to have an overrated Super Bowl winning quarterback in the league again. I'm kidding. Arthur Brown is a Miami Dolphins fan, and he says he doesn't like Bryce Young to the Dolphins. You don't like Bryce Young to the Dolphins, or you don't like Tyler Huntley to the Dolphins? I don't know. It makes sense. John says Arch Manning threw for 276, 9 for 12 with 5 tutties. Yeah, he went off. And Carson says, I don't think Miami is willing to pay what the Panthers want. I mean, realistically, in the Panthers' eyes, their head coach flat out said Bryce Young is our quarterback of the future. Fast forward 6 hours later, he's benched. So I'm not for sure if the Panthers really want anything for Bryce Young. Because if you sit down and you really look at it, the current coaching staff in Carolina did not draft Bryce Young. The coaching staff in Carolina probably despises Bryce Young. The coaching staff in Carolina is probably looking for a way to get Bryce Young out. So even if it's a 5th round pick or a 6th round pick, hell, I'll take it. I mean, I wouldn't go as high as a 2nd round. I mean, actually, I might go as high as a 2nd round pick, because the Panthers don't have a 2nd round pick for next year, because they still got to give that to the Bears. But the simple fact of the matter, Carson, is I don't think the Panthers would want that much. I mean, realistically, he's won, 3 games in his 2-year NFL career, playing 19 games. So he's, 3 for 16? 3 for 16, 5 touchdown passes. That doesn't scream like very high value to me, right? But I could be mistaken. WBN says it's only a matter of time before Bryce Young wants out himself. Yeah, exactly. Like I said earlier, Ant, I think Bryce Young needs to demand he wants out right now. Not later, not next year, not 2 years, right now. I think he wants out now. Carson says it's still early in his career. He's not yet deemed a bust, so there's still a little the unknown. I think once you get benched as a second-year quarterback and you have not turned around your team at all, you've shown no improvement, you've actually digressed, you look like a broken quarterback, you're going to be deemed a bust. In the common person's eyes, he's going to be deemed a bust. Now, if you listen to shows like Marcellus Wiley, like obviously the Man Hour, if you listen to the probably NFL Good Morning, I didn't watch it this morning, but I bet you there's a lot of support out there for Bryce Young. I've seen it on social media. I've seen it in our chat. There's a lot of support for Bryce Young, but the average viewer, the average person is going to see a 2-year NFL starting quarterback benched week 3, bust. And you also have to realize that they gave up, 3 first-round picks for him or something like that? Something ridiculous, right? They gave up a lot of picks for him. It is what it is. Before we get into overreaction too, let's bring up the last comment here from Casey. Sorry about the voice in the coffin, guys. Allergy season is apparently back here in southern Indiana. But Casey Morgan says there's a lot of young talent just goes to the wrong teams and they can't teach. So a mentor of mine, Jamie Polk, I've learned a lot of my coaching ability from Jamie Polk. I've taken a lot of what he has told me and I've taken it in and I've embraced everything, right? A lot of young people need to do this. I mean, I'm 36 years old and I'm still learning from Jamie Polk, right? I call him every day. Like, hey, man, I know you've been retired for three years, but this is the situation that I'm in. What would you do, right? He told me long ago, there is a reason why players get recruited to college. There are reasons why players get drafted from college. There's a reason why these NFL teams invest millions upon millions of dollars on these players. They have shown spurts of talent somewhere along the way, whether it's high school, whether it's college, whether it's NFL. Matt Castle is a prime example. Matt Castle was a backup quarterback his senior year of high school. Got recruited to USC, right? Was a backup to Carson Palmer. All through USC, I don't think he played a single snap in a meaningful game at USC. Was drafted by the New England Patriots. As a backup quarterback drafted by the New England Patriots. Tom Brady tears his ACL. He finally gets his opportunity. It's his first start since his junior year of high school. He balls out. If I remember correctly, I think he led the Patriots to the playoffs where they were like a game out, right? They were on the cusp of making the playoffs that particular season. Why did the Patriots draft him? Because they saw potential. They saw the talent, and they grew that talent, and they potentially made him a NFL starting quarterback. He actually was a starting quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs for what? 2-3 years? I can't remember exactly how long it was. We forget those years as Chiefs fans because we had Herm Edwards as coach and Matt Castle. It was a rough time. But he was drafted as a backup quarterback in college because he's shown sights of potential. He has the talent. So what I'm trying to say is Bryce Young has the talent. Bryce Young has the football IQ. Bryce Young has everything that is out there. But you have to invest coaching ability into him. There's a reason why Bryce Young looks broken right now because poor-ass coaching, poor-ass organization, poor-ass everything that's happening in Carolina. Carolina Panthers are the worst organization in the NFL. And Skylar Thompson is the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins right now from the Kansas State University. And Casey says, we don't talk about Castle. You have sinned as a Chiefs fan. Listen, I've actually used Matt Castle in my high school speech just the other day. I had a parent come up to me, why isn't my son playing? Well, because right now your son's shown very little effort. Take Matt Castle's book. He wasn't a starter, made it to the NFL. Ryan Anderson's in the chat. He says, heard Miami reached out to Detroit on Hooker also. Haven't seen any confirmation yet. So I know we have a couple Detroit Lions fans out out here. I know we got a couple Luke G fans as well. So let me ask you guys this question. If you are a Detroit Lions fan, would you be okay giving up Hendon Hooker to the Miami Dolphins? Would Hendon Hooker to the Miami Dolphins make any sense? Because if I remember correctly, I think the Detroit Lions drafted Hendon Hooker in the 3rd round or 4th round. I can't remember. I'm trying to pull it up. Computer's going a little slow right now. He was drafted in the 3rd round. So ideally, you would want at least a 3rd round pick for him, if not more. Jared Goff is only 31 years old. Hendon Hooker's 26 years old. So Hendon Hooker is going to be pretty much a career backup in Detroit if he stays there. Jared Goff's actually only 29 years old. Wrap your head around that. It seems like he's been in the league forever. But if the Miami Dolphins do hear from Tua that he is going to retire or he's out for the season, do you give up a 2nd round pick for a Hendon Hooker? Or do you go after a quarterback like Bryce Young? That is a conversation to be had really, really well. I mean, and then, of course, Trey Lance's name is always going to pop up. Or Cooper Rush. There's going to be a lot of names start flowing around. But let's get into some overreaction on Tuesday, guys. On this Overreaction Tuesday, we have been scouring the old interwebs, and we've been trolling, we've been posting, and we've been talking a lot of shit across the landscapes. So on this overreaction, we face a question. And if we are overreacting to it, we're like, whoa, hang on. That's not 100% true. But if we're underreacting to it, you're probably pretty spot on. Right? So on this Overreaction Tuesday, Kellen Moore, flashback to Monday Night Football, guys. The Philadelphia Eagles are leading the Atlanta Falcons by 4 points. They are a 3rd and 3 from their own 6-yard line, I believe, maybe an 8-yard line. 1:40 left in the game, and Kellen Moore decides to throw a swing pass to Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley ultimately ended up dropping the pass. The Eagles ultimately end up kicking a field goal, ultimately kicking it off to the Atlanta Falcons with 1:27 left. Kirk Cousins says, "Hold my beer," drives down the field, bada bing, bada boom. Atlanta Falcons win 22-21. So we got to ask the question, guys. Is it an overreaction or an underreaction that Kellen Moore is the worst offensive coordinator ever in the NFL? What prompted this question was the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles have a running back by the name of Saquon Barkley. They paid Saquon Barkley $37.5 million this season to run the ball for the Philadelphia Eagles. The last 2, 3, 4 seasons, what have the Philadelphia Eagles been known for? They have been known for the tush push. Get down in there, get behind Jason Kelsey, ram it down your throat. 4th and 1, 4th and 2, hell, 4th and 4, it doesn't matter. Tush push it, baby. They shown earlier in the game for a touchdown that they can still run the tush push. The backup center, I believe, is from Iowa. I can't remember, or the starting center now, but Jason Kelsey's backup, shown that he could definitely perform the tush push. So what really prompted this question is Kellen Moore the worst offensive coordinator ever? Overreaction, underreaction? Is the simple fact of the matter is that it is 3rd and 3. It is 3rd and 3 on your 8-yard line. You have 0 timeouts. Or sorry, the Falcons have 0 timeouts left. You have Saquon Barkley. You have the tush push. Why are you calling a swing pass? Why are you calling a swing pass in that particular situation? Let's say you run the ball, 22 dive. Saquon Barkley up the 2-hole. A gap for your defensive players. You don't get the first down. Hell, you lose 3 yards. Let's just say that happens. Falcons still have 0 timeouts left. You have 50 seconds left on the clock. You have is it a 4-point lead or a 5-point lead? You still have the opportunity to kick a field goal if you want, which I wouldn't have ever kicked the field goal because it takes a touchdown to win the game either way. At that point, you run 2 plays. You leave as little time on the clock as possible. I mean, they could have left 40 some odd seconds left on the clock. Falcons have to drive the ball 93 yards in 40 seconds with 0 timeouts. Kellen Moore calls a pass play, stops the clock, minute 27 left. He decides to kick a field goal, minute 27 left, minute 20 left. Kirk Cousins gets the ball at the 30 after kickoff and drive down the field. Guys, it is not an overreaction. Kellen Moore is the worst offensive coordinator ever in the NFL. Ever. There is a reason why the Dallas Cowboys fired him after he put Zeke Elliott at center versus San Francisco 49ers. There's a reason why he only spent 1 season in LA with the Chargers. 25th ranked defense that particular season. Offensive guru minded himself. I do not understand why people keep hyping up Kellen Moore year after year after year. I don't understand it. But guys, I got to ask the question. Is it an overreaction or is it underreaction? Is Kellen Moore the most overrated or the worst offensive coordinator ever? Not even overrated, just the worst. Just the worst. James Frank says they're not the only team that did that. Cleveland almost lost because of the same thing, overreaction. He says he's overreacting. Let's slow it down, baby. He's not the only dumb offensive coordinator out there. Carson Lang says Eagles shit the bed so badly you need a new mattress. 100%. I mean, let's just say, hypothetically, it's 3rd and 3. You are paying a running back $37.5 million. Give him the freaking ball. Give him the running. Let him run the rock. Come on. Yeah, Jesus. So dumb. Next overreaction on this beautiful Overreaction Tuesday. That's right. Put some speak on their name. Cincinnati Bengals have started the season off 0-2 for the 4th time in the last 5 seasons. The Cincinnati Bengals have a 11% chance of making the playoffs this season. There has only been 6% of the teams that start 0-2 that make the playoffs after starting 0-2. Only one team. That one team has been the Cincinnati Bengals. So, guys, is it an overreaction or an underreaction that the Cincinnati Bengals should be in panic mode? So like I said, guys, the Cincinnati Bengals have started the last 4 of the last 5 seasons 0-2. Last season, they started off 0-2, lost the first 2 games of the season, ultimately ended up winning 9 games. They did miss the playoffs, but it was mainly because they did not have Joe Burrow for nearly the whole season. I believe it was the final 10 games of the season, they did not have him. In 2022, they started off 0-2 as well. They ended up winning 12 games. They ended up making the playoffs. They ended up going to the AFC Conference Championship game, ultimately losing to the Kansas City Chiefs. The famous Burrowhead my ass game. In 2021, they started off 1-1. That season, they didn't make the Super Bowl, lost to the LA Rams. In 2020, They finished with 4 wins after starting off 0-2. In 2019, they finished off with just 2 wins after starting 0-2. Obviously, Joe Burrow's rookie year, and then he got injured, was like 5th game of the season. In 2020, he was injured as well. So is it an overreaction or an underreaction that the Bengals should be in panic mode after starting off the season 0-2? It depends on what success looks like in Cincinnati. It depends on if they want to make the playoffs. It depends on if they want to make the Super Bowl. It depends how far do they want to go. Because when you look at the schedule moving forward, it is pretty favorable. They play the Carolina Panthers. They play the Baltimore Ravens. How's that favorable? Because the Ravens are in shambles right now. Sorry, Ant. They play the Raiders. Could be a good game. They play the Titans that suck. They play the Denver Broncos that are not very good right now. The Dallas Cowboys are not very good right now either. They play the New York Giants. But I think it is not an overreaction. I think the Bengals need to be in panic mode. They need to be in panic mode because the simple fact of the matter is that Jamar Chase wants those dollar bills, y'all. Jamar Chase is showing his frustration out on the field. Yes, when he got that 15-yard penalty, it was because he was MFing the referee. But a typical man, a typical male, we're all guilty of it. Don't try to say you're not because we all are. We all bottle stuff in. Oh, my car won't start. Oh, I'm late for work. Oh, the toilet seat's broken. Oh, this, and this, and this, and this. And then that one little thing, oh, my kid spilled water on the floor, and you just snap, right? You don't snap because your kid spilled water on the floor. You snap because of everything else you've been bottling up and haven't let it out. That's what happened to Jamar Chase on Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening versus the Kansas City Chiefs, as he let everything out on that referee. It wasn't because of the false hip or the face mask or whatever. It was because nothing was going his way. And when you start 0-2, those little things start to add up, and it's irritating. And on Monday Night Football, when Cincinnati Bengals come back into town, they play a Washington Commanders team that could jump up and bite them in the ass. They've already shown that they get bit in the ass by the New England Patriots week 1. The Commanders, the Panthers, and Ravens, the Bengals could be starting off 0-5 very, very soon, very, very quickly. I don't think it is an overreaction. I think the Bengals need to be in panic mode. The Bengals need to be in must-win mode right now. They say we need to win 4 out of the next 5. By the bye week, they better have 7, 8 wins, or it could be a long, long season. I think it's not an overreaction. I think they need to be in panic mode 100%. So what do you guys think? Should the Cincinnati Bengals be in panic mode? Should they be in panic mode? James Frank says they're going to start 0-3. They lose to Washington this week on Monday Night Football. And if that happens, it is extreme panic mode. It is an extreme panic mode because if they start 0-3, I believe their chances to make the playoffs drop down to like 2% per the ESPN API. I don't think you see Jamar Chase on the field without a new contract like after that point. I don't think you see Joe Burrow really trying to ball out anymore. I think you see Trey Hendrickson kind of like, you know what? I wanted some money too. I don't know. Carson says it is an overreaction. They still have Joe Burrow, who is a great quarterback. They'll be just fine. And I agree with you, Carson. I think Joe Burrow is a great quarterback. But if it was last year, if it was the previous year, or the year before that, it would be okay. But this year's different story. Jamar Chase is disgruntled. Jamar Chase is pissed off. You don't have that security blanket in Joe Mixon and Tyler Boyd. Higgins is still hurt. Joe Burrow's coming off that injury. We don't know how good that wrist actually is still, right? I don't think it's an overreaction. I think it's an underreaction. WBN says it all depends on if Chase gets paid and how him and Burrow relationship go moving forward. So I think the Joe Burrow-Jamar Chase relationship is just fine. I don't think they have any rifts or anything just like that. Obviously, winning cures all and losing shows your vulnerabilities, right? But if they start 0-3 and Jamar Chase does not have a deal yet, Jamar Chase might get a hamstring injury, might have a back issue, might have a sprained ankle. It could be a long, long season. James Frank says, I don't think Jamar Chase will be a Bengal next season. See, and this is kind of weird to me, right? Because Jamar Chase was perfectly happy playing on the contract that he had. But then the franchise came to him trying to work out a contract, and they would not budge. They were set on their ways. So, James, I think you might be right, because if they do not figure something out in the next 3 weeks, they probably won't figure anything out at all. And if they have a miserable season, if it's 7-win season, a 6-win season, they miss the playoffs yet again, I could see Jamar Chase being a Tyreek Hill type of situation, right? Saying, I want this much money, I want this, this, and this. And then the Bengals say no. And the next thing, it's breaking news. Jamar Chase gets traded to the Detroit Lions. What? Trey Henderson got paid a few years ago. He did. But also this offseason, Carson, he said that he wants to be paid more. He said he wants those dollar bills, yo. Want those dollar bills, yo. But guys, that is going to be it for today's show. My voice is killing me. I need to get some more cough drops. Got ready for rivalry week. We got another rivalry game here at the high school. We got some shit going down. But every Monday through Friday, guys, here, 2:30 East Coast time, live, raw, uncut NFL talk.